The mid to late 1980s were a special time in the traveling rides industry. The lowering costs of new technology allowed for an explosion in designs and complexity for new amusement rides. One of the rides to come out of this era would be born from a small but innovative Italian manufacturer, SDC. The Galactica is a giant ride that somewhat resembles the spinning rider vehicle of a tagada. Unlike a tagada, there are 40 dedicated seats along with over-the-shoulder restraints. The ride starts by spinning up to its maximum speed before tilting and lifting on a giant lifting arm similar to an Enterprise. The ride unit can be lifted to a full 90 degrees, subjecting riders to strong positive G-forces while disorienting them with the vertical motion. At the conclusion of the ride, the hydraulic lifting arm lowers and the vehicle spins to a controlled stop. The ride features a folding section of wall that also functions as the entrance and exit stairway when lowered. The Galactica became very popular almost immediately, though many people started to call the ride Moonraker as it was commonly sold under this name. The ride was a hit thanks to its relatively high capacity of 40 riders per cycle, along with its unique design and thrilling experience. The design of the ride also lent itself well for lots of decorations and lights, with these rides being famous for being covered with lots of multicolored lights and having large painted or illuminated backdrops. The ride is also said to be very portable, although the exact details about the complexity of transporting the ride type are not publicly known. At least 10 Galacticas were sold between 1985 and 1993 when SDC closed due to bankruptcy. Some of these rides still operate today, though they are becoming increasingly rare. One example is Moonraker, which has been traveling on the European fair circuit with multiple showmen since 1991. The ride is currently up for sale, but was last traveling around France. Considering the ride received a PLC upgrade from its reseller, I think it's safe to say that this ride will continue to operate for years to come. A more infamous Moonraker was owned by Bell City Amusements, who traveled with it in the US. The ride is thought to have started its life in the US as the only such ride imported to the country at the time. The ride operated for several years before undergoing a large refurbishment around 2015. Around a year after the refurbishment, the ride was operating at a fair in Tennessee, when the ride experienced a minor electrical issue that caused the ride to fall back into a safe state, causing the ride to slow and lower to the ground. For some reason, the operator is said to have panicked and pressed a button that released the rider's restraints as a result, causing some riders to fall out of their seats. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, but it's very odd that the restraints were able to do this. Likely, something was done improperly during the ride's refurbishment, as this would likely not be intended behavior by SDC. The ride continued to travel with Bell City until at least 2017. Sometime after this, the showman was sold to Degler Attractions after supposedly suffering storm damage to many of their rides. It's not clear what exactly happened to this ride, but it disappeared after the sale. Luckily, the US would not be without a Galactica or Moonraker ride for long. In 2021, rumors swirled that a Moonraker that had been traveling with French showmen Bach and Anard was going to be sold. It was later found out that an Italian company had refurbished the ride and sold it to independent American showman Bruce Perlman of Caprice Entertainment. The ride made its US debut at the State Fair of Texas in 2022 and has been a huge hit for the showman. A few other examples of Galactica rides are the Moonraker at Fuji-Q Highland, which operated from 1993 to 2010, and Flying Saucer at Fivo Ostrov in Russia, which originally opened in 1992 at Curie Portopia Land in Japan before being moved to Russia in 2003. SDC did not stop innovating with the success of the Galactica. Around 1989, they introduced a much more rare ride called the Sentrox. This ride took a regular Moonraker and added the ability for the rider vehicle to tilt on its own controlled axis, allowing for the ride to sit upright at full speed with the arm extended. This makes for a visual spectacle and can add to the disorientation of riders. Only one is known to have been produced. The ride started its life traveling the German fair circuit from 1989 to 1999 with multiple different showmen changing hands almost every year. The ride was later sold to Queensland and Chennai, India, where it has been in operation since the year 2000. Videos as recent as 2022 show that the ride still uses its marquee feature during ride cycles today, making it a truly unique and unusual ride that cannot be found elsewhere. Several rides have taken inspiration from the Galactica. One of the best known examples is the Technical Park Heavy Rotation and Moon Dance, which uses a similar concept but mounts the lifting arm on its own rotating base centrally rather than on one end. This leads to higher lateral forces than the SDC ride. Other companies, like SBF Visa, have attempted to revive the design. They have created the Compact Moonraker. This ride seats only 20 riders and is designed for small parks and family entertainment centers. It also features a much smaller lifting arm, but it can thankfully move in all the same axes as the original, making it worthy of the name. These rides have enjoyed some success, but they are undoubtedly not as intense as the originals. And that wraps up the information I was able to uncover on the SDC Galactica/Moonraker. There is undoubtedly more information out there, as I know I was not able to find much information on at least half of the Galacticas that were produced. So as always, if you know information that was not covered in this video, please feel free to share it in the comments below. Per usual, if you'd like access to all 20 episodes of Flat Ride Friday Season 3 without having to wait, you can become a channel member and start enjoying them all right now. If not, no pressure, I'll see you all back next week.